Welcome in 29ers. Jason Matheny here from the confines, the mothership of Houston, Texas, where it is warm here, but it cannot possibly be as hot as it is in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where Terry Cushman is on a heater. I don't care what the temperature is out there, but you, sir, are officially in fuego.
Yeah, back-to-back weekends with a win and a main. I got to the final four of the Saturday main, and my luck, which will cover how immensely lucky I was throughout the last couple of weeks, kind of ran out, and I got swept in that 3-4 round to Rich Governale, but fellow South Carolinian. And but man, what a weekend! And I not just the playoffs, but I really had some good qualifying rounds as well. I don't know which one's which here.
High qualifier in the main. Was it the Smoky Mountain? I had it up a second ago. The Smoky Mountain, I'm screw up the name of it. I wasn't even there, but Smoky Mountain. So
Yeah,
what, you had like a 35 card or 37 card or something like that?
37 card. I put the pictures in the wrong spot, so I don't think I can pull them up. But yeah, I had a 37 card. I won my first 9 straight, and then went on to win, let's see, 8 out of the next 13 with so that got me to 37 because I had 3 skunks. I also blew some skunks too. Just got, a little I don't know, unlucky, or just circumstantially, I just wasn't able to get them done. Let's just put it that way. But so I had 3 wins by 29 where they snuck over on me. And then on the Friday main, which is the one that I ended up winning, I won 10 out of 12, which, pretty stout for a 12 gamer. I had a 7-point loss, which really wasn't that close because I was pwned from I don't know, the 106, 107 hole, something like that. So I just didn't have a huge hand. It didn't peg a ton. And then Lori Schmitz just absolutely destroyed me in the second of those 2 losses. But yeah, just a killer weekend out there. And we'll get to some of the hands from it. I nearly blew the final in game 5 in the most epic way possible. And so one of the hands in the analysis later will cover that.
Yeah, we'll touch on that. Yeah, that's I remember texting you back like, "How's your heart?" But all right, but
so brutal.
But before we'll get to that in the hands. So I have breaking news here on the program here. At least I have to like as a sophisticated journalist here. Terry Cushman, are you a man of your word? You said on this very program that if you killed it out in Asheville, that you would make your way to Fort Walton Beach. So winning an event and being a high qualifier and get to the final 4 of the next one, if that's not killing it, I don't know what is. So are you a man of your word? Are you making your way south, I guess kind of southwest, to Fort Walton, where I will be this weekend in the Emerald Coast Classic?
Yes, I will be there. I honestly wasn't planning on it. I had zero intentions of going. When I made that promise, I guess, last week, I'm like, 5% chance this plays out. There's no very slim chance I'm going. But the bummer about it all is I would have flown if I could, but a week out, you're not getting the best prices at that point. I guess I did for Wisconsin for some reason, but for some reason I'm not getting them. Maybe because I'm going to a warmer destination. Maybe that's part of why. So I was hemming and hawing, and I think when I looked this weekend, or probably Friday night, the flights were $369, and that was only to Atlanta. I would have carpooled with Jamie Fincher and Canadian Jordan and his mom, but I hemmed and hawed too long, and then they went up $20, and then the day after that they went up 20 more. So I'm like, my car isn't in the best shape. It's a 640-mile trip one way, so double that for the complete trip. So I ended up, luckily, what did end up happening was the rental car prices went down the last few days. So it's only
Ooh,
going to
so you
cost,
just put all those miles on a rental car. Beautiful. Okay.
yeah, it's going to be $167 after taxes and fees. So not bad. And the gas is what it is. I would have paid that anyway if I drove. So that's the plan. The best route has me going dead south to Jacksonville on Highway 95, Interstate 95, and then dead west
West on I-10. Yep.
on I-10, yeah, right across the Panhandle. I mean, it's a perfect L shape, but apparently it's still the quickest way because of the highway. So I'm gonna leave. Let's see, tomorrow night, which is Wednesday. I'll get hopefully just a little beyond Jacksonville. Then I'll pull over. I'll probably sleep for like 4 hours or whatever. Um, I'm bringing a blanket and pillow. And the other thing too was I needed a roommate, and so I posted on the Facebook page, the ACC page, and I always have pretty good luck with that. And a few options materialized, but the one that I like the most was I'm gonna stay with Jim Correa, his wife Michelle Greika, and then another couple that I'm not familiar with in an Airbnb. So I stayed with a few of them in the 2023 Virginia Beach Grand National in an Airbnb. So that's the plan. Long drive, but is what it is. I got to keep my promise.
Okay. And me being a Jacksonville guy, we can talk off air about this. Maybe I can get you a hookup on a place to crash for like, however many hours. We'll discuss after the fact. But I'm excited, man, because not only because you're going to be there, but like I get to play live tournament cribbage for the first time since like Grand National. So I mean, I'm like happy and sad that you're going to be there because you're on such a heater. But it's all right. I relish the opportunity to bust you. I still feel like one day maybe we'll do this, like do like t-shirts or something. And if somebody busts us in the playoffs, you give them like a shirt. It's kind of like there's a poker player that does that, Barry Greenstein, that if you bust him from a tournament, he'll like sign his book and give you a copy. It's a neat little like thing. So maybe we'll do something like that. So I have statistics for you. Go ahead. You had something.
Well, I just wanted to get through just a couple of notes real quick.
Yes.
So the tournament in Asheville, I did a live stream talking about it before one of the mains, and it was at a Comfort Inn, and as I said in the live stream, not the sexiest of chains, but it is a newly renovated hotel. It was comfortable, beds were good, bathroom was good, which is really what I'm looking for when I book a place. Like, how nice is the bathroom? And so that was good. There's tons of eateries around that you could just walk to if you want to. If walking's not your thing, 30 to 60-second car ride will get you to a lot of places. Flights in and out of there, if you book them within a fair amount of time from the tournament, could be in the 200s. So it ends up being one of the more affordable flights for some reason, which is surprising because it is a small airport. I don't go to Deadwood because Rapid City, it's just so expensive to fly in there. But with Asheville, it's affordable, and and that's good. Jacob French was the tournament director. Megafer were the co-directors, and they do an amazing job with the accounting and the behind the scenes stuff to keep the tournament rolling. And they do it just about every tournament weekend in the Southeast. I can't think of one where they don't do it, so maybe Columbia, actually. I think Jennifer Curnow has her crew handle that, but for the most part, it's going to be Megafer. And so it was a well-run tournament. The prepaid numbers were low, into the 30s, but they had tons of walk-ins. So both tournaments had exactly 51 players, which is pretty good for a new tournament in the Southeast.
Sure.
So
yeah, that's fantastic. I'm happy for the turnout for them. Maybe try to get out there next year.
yeah, and I think I can't remember if we were up against another tournament or not, but we did have some people come from away. Sally Henderson was there, and she tends to play a lot of the Carolina tournaments between Raleigh and Columbia. But Sally's like one of my favorite persons. Like, if you're in a adult and you need like an adoptive mom, like Sally's the perfect person. You get a big hug at the start of the weekend. Her vibe is just so good, just such a good person to have around. So it's always a pleasant surprise when you bump into her at the same tournament. And I'm trying to think of some other things. Oh, one note that I should have got to last week and I did not. So this is Wisconsin related. The player I was the most impressed with at that tournament, Jimmy McCarty. I ended up playing him 3 times. I want to say I won one of the 3, and he beat me pretty soundly the other 2. It was like he could see my cards. He trapped me in a couple of ways I didn't see coming, and I don't know if I screwed up or if it just was circumstantial and materialized, but he got me either way. And so I know I drafted him high on the players under 40, but man, what a hell of a player he is. And I think most players under the age of 40, and even players into their 40s, they probably haven't hit their ceiling yet. So that's just, a possible indicator of how scary good he's going to be, in the coming years on top of how good he already is. So I'm a week late on giving him credit for that, but I didn't want to forget it this week.
And before you hit the stats that I want to show you, also you mentioned the Asheville tournament. Got to give shout and credit to Scott Noble, who won 2 tournaments. Like we call that the Cushman, where I come from doing that in the Raleigh. But Scott Noble, by the way, very, very nice guy. He gave me a ride back from like the Boston area, or from North Conway down to the Boston area. Super nice guy. And so happy for him. 2 tournaments in a weekend. Drinks are on him for sure for the foreseeable. So, all right. So the important part here. So stats. So we kind of mentioned last week as we started to get into it, your record in tournament finals. And again, it's like, I don't know if there's any science to it other than just small sample size items, but some people can just turn it on a little bit, that clutch gene type of things. But I got from Scott Harker, the official, I wish I had like a piece of paper to rattle in my hand, but it's much less like sexy when I have it on a computer screen. But the record in finals all time, and I'm going to screen share and just like show this one. We'll try to like talk through it a little bit. We'll see how this works because I tried to like prep my screen for like the future stuff we're going to do later. But this is the record. Make this a little bit bigger if I can here record in finals all time. So Terry, you are 4th all time in finals records. This is updated with yours. If there's anybody else on here who had one in the last couple of weeks, my apologies. But so Ian Simons has the most here. We set the limit at 10. So this is anybody with 10 or more appearances in a finals. So get Ian Simons, I believe it's Simons, Dennis Morin, Matthew Pichota. They're the only 3 in the entire organization that have you beat on that. So you are ahead of all the Tolls, all the Locks, all the Voldemorts. That's pretty cool. At 84% in the finals, 21-4 is pretty impressive. Nicely done. But yeah, everybody on this list of all time, there's me sneaking in there, and the 10th spot at 11-3. Shoot, at this point at 78%, I almost don't want to make a finals, right? Like I'm just losing the final 4 from now on. I don't need to win another tournament, but yeah, so you are, and I was looking under you at 84%, and then I'll scroll down a little bit. Where was he on here? Here we go. 35th here, or 33rd, pardon me, is Eric Locke at 69%. So how do you feel being 15% better at anything cribbage than Eric Locke?
Well, I'll say this. So wow, he's played 147 finals. I think if I ever got to 147, I would be under 60.
Fall back to the pack. Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, I would think so.
His 69 is better than my 86. Let's put it that way.
No doubt. I mean, listen, the arguments against Eric being the GOAT tend to whittle away like as the days grow long, and the more he does in this. But yeah, I just thought that was neat. Like you being, curious if you were the best of all time But yeah, saw you there at 4th all time. And again, right, just some mostly familiar names on these lists, like like regular like emails. Marvin Lang, who passed away not that long ago, was a very, very good player at 10-4. Right, you got Robert Milk here at 26-11. There's like Marlene on there. Trevor at 7-3. I can't believe Trevor only has 7 wins. That's surprising to me. But well, anyway, but those are the numbers that I had on those. I just thought those were neat. Again, shout out to Scott Harker, who just, I guess, ran a quick little query and like shot me those. I thought that was kind of neat to see the results in finals. All right. Well, so I guess we'll jump to the fantasy draft here. And what we decided to do this week is a public service. I'm sure there are so many people right now, 13 days into their New Year's resolutions, starting to feel the little tickle of the urge to do things differently. And so we decided we would just push against those urges, and we're just going with desserts, just our favorite desserts. I feel like we're burning a category that's pretty wide here that we could go a lot more with, but so be it. We're thin on ideas. cribbagepodcast@gmail.com if you have suggestions for fantasy drafts. We're also going to be leaning into hate, I think, in the near future on these. I feel like right, just so hate topics are recommended. Right. So the nickel of destiny here. And would you mind if I call it this time? Like my sweet tooth. Like, I don't know if there's one I desperately want here, but I'm going to flip this and oops, I'm going to drop it. So I'm going to flip it again. It's my acuity here. And I'm going to change it up and pick tails. And what do you know? It's a head. So,
okay.
So Terry, you can kick or receive on this one. You can have well, actually, football doesn't exist to me anymore. We're not going to talk about any sports things. But you can have the first pick or the turn, as they call it.
I'm going to take the first pick because I have to have it.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Very simply, I'm just going with ice cream. I love it. And it's delicious. And I have you ever been to an Old Country buffet? It's a chain, but I don't know how massive it is. Okay.
Sure. Yeah. I kind of like a Golden Corral or whatever, but yeah, I've been to an Old Country buffet.
So at Old Country Buffet, that was the nearest one to me growing up. And you went to the ice cream machine yourself and poured it into the bowl and all that.
So the soft serve, yeah.
You could have literally as much as you want. And like the little bowls that weren't that big. So if you piled it too high, it could fall over, or it could melt too fast and then, flood over the side of the bowl because it's very soft. So I came up with this clever scheme where I would go over to the soup salad bar and get a soup bowl, which is much bigger, higher sides, and just really level it into that. And I would show these kids, and their moms would get like so mad at them. But yeah. So anyway, ice cream is my favorite, and I'm not too picky with it. I don't like coffee flavored ice cream, but
that was gonna be my next question. Are there any ice creams that are like a no-go for you? Like, and is it soft serve before like regular ice cream, before like, I don't know, like gelatos or sorbets or whatever?
Yeah, I'd prefer not so soft serve. Like Ben and Jerry's is my favorite of like all the grocery store ones, and that's not a soft ice cream. So but yeah, but anyway, that's my first overall.
Okay. I think that's a solid pick. And yeah, ice cream's great, right? Like I've yet to find like ice cream that I truly do not like. Like there's some I'll take more than others. And like luckily I'm in like the city here in Houston, and there's some good like local ice cream parlors. I think that's how I prefer. Like I'd rather have just, like a little local spot than, but there's still good like grocery store ice cream too. People in Texas freak out about Bluebell ice cream, and I just find it to be very like mediocre like grocery store ice cream. It's like sacrilege here. I make it like if I'm not on the next program, it might be because I'm in jail here in Texas. So okay, I got the next two picks here, and oh man, like part of this is again, it's like just a little like there are some of the things on the list here that I don't think you're ever going to take. So I'm going to be a little strategic with this. So I think with my first pick, I'm going to take cheesecake.
Oh, that was my next one.
Like, is it a cake? Is it a pie? I don't care. It's delicious. And the delta, the difference between good and bad cheesecake is pretty big, but I'm picturing like a well-made one. And like, I don't know, in terms of cheesecake, what you like. I just like regular old cheesecake. Give me like the kind of graham cracker crust and like just I don't need any fruits or flavors. Like I'm fine if there are, but just big, thick, dense cheesecake is lovely and wonderful.
Okay.
And then for my next pick, yeah, all right, I'll just take one I have to have. I don't think this one would be on your list, but I'm gonna go with banana cream pie. Like a like I kind of like banana as a flavor, and I feel like there are a couple of different ways to get that into dessert. Um, and I think I'm already regretting not taking one of the other ones, but there's a place in Houston called the House of Pies. It's like your kind of typical like coffee shop, but kind of focus on dessert kind of place. Like if you ever been to like a Village Inn or something like that, so it's some similarities to it, and they just have a fantastic like banana cream pie. Yeah, just I don't know, just a real thick, delicious, like super sweet dessert. I'm already like hungry for all these dessert things, but yeah, banana cream pie, my second pick.
I like bananas, but only as themselves.
Okay,
So it's
so yeah,
kind of weird, yeah. Except I guess those body armor drinks, if you've ever had them, they're like it's like a fruitier version of Gatorade.
sure.
Kind of. Yeah, the strawberry banana one actually is good. But all right, so let me take my next two, and I was able to just write one in. Like you kind of
Inspired you or something?
inspired a different one, which I think will be safe to take last. So my next one, cheesecake would have been next, but you sniped me. So I'm going to take carrot cake.
Oh wow,
Um,
yeah, there's a snipe there. Yeah, okay.
yeah,
Go
I
on.
like that
You're
one.
anything in particular about carrot cake that stands out to you or that you really like? There's another one where it's like a bad version of it is not very good, but like if you have a reliable place where they have it, oh, it's lovely.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the frosted top mixed with with
Different
the
textures in a carrot cake
yeah,
for sure. And like I think we're both kind of texture eaters as much as we are taste eaters.
yeah, yeah. So I guess that'll be my number two. Number three, I better take now. Would be apple pie. Um, It's my favorite type of pie, and, especially right out of the oven. I get it at McDonald's too, not that that's probably the greatest apple pie, but I love it that much, so that would be my number 3.
Okay, apple pie not really on my list. By the way, former McDonald's employee, and you were mentioning the soft serve earlier. There was like an art to making the soft serve in the little cones and how tall you could make it. And I could get
Yes.
pretty good at making it. Like a few times, I would just for for the fun of it would make it super tall when we get an order for it. I'd bring it out to somebody at the drive-through, and I think I had somebody once be like, "I'm not taking that. Make me another one." Just okay, fine. But
Was that your first job ever?
not technically. I worked at my dad was an auto dealer, and like my first
Okay,
job is like working there is in the sum like washing cars in the summer. But it was like my like
okay.
second job when I was like 16 or something like that. So I had that one I think when I was like senior of high school. But yeah,
It
pretty
was
early
my
on.
my first job. I think I was sophomore year, if I'm not mistaken. No, maybe I was
Yeah,
a
there was a
freshman.
period of time where I heard it was a crazy stat. And I think it was 25% of the population at some point had worked at McDonald's, not just like fast food, but like McDonald's. And I'm sure that's like way different now because teenagers don't really like get the part-time jobs as much anymore, which to be debated in other ways. But yeah, apparently that's not as much of a thing. But yeah, it's crazy how many people have worked at a McDonald's.
You wanna hear a conspiracy theory real quick?
Ooh,
I
yeah, always.
I only saw it last night. There was a meme, like, and it just kind of planted the seed in my head. They're like, "How can there be enough cows for enough beef to be served at, like, thousands, if not millions of McDonald's?" And I'm like, "That's a good point. Like, where are these cows?" So, I don't know. Maybe I'll go down a rabbit hole someday, but I literally just saw it last night.
Okay, all right. I'm always here for the new tinfoil theories. Like we're gonna be talking about like Mattress Firm on the next show or something like that. But that's another one that's well known. All right, I got my last two picks here, and so I kind of get whatever I want on my list. And I think I have like three or four that I strongly want. I'm gonna skip that one. I'll skip that one. All right, the third one I'm going to pick because I feel like it's one of the things I enjoy baking. Like I'm okay at cooking, but I'm better at baking because baking is science and like cooking is art. And one of the best things I bake are blondies, and I really really like. But do you know what a blondie is? I assume, or have you never? You know, ask Sam. Like she's the baker, right? But like,
Yeah, I've heard of them and I'm sure I've seen them, but not necessarily known what they were.
so you know what a brownie is, right?
Yeah.
So think of a brownie, but it is more like a chocolate chip cookie
Okay.
than it is like super chocolatey. So that's
Yeah.
a blondie. And you can have different, like you don't have to have chocolate chips in it. Some people will do it like butterscotch or white chocolate or whatever it is. But I make mine with like chocolate chunks. And I don't know, something about like the texture and the flavor of it is really, really enjoyable to me. It's like it's thicker than a chocolate chip cookie, but it's not as like hardcore chocolatey as like a brownie is. I make pretty good brownies too, but I think if you can have a good blondie, I feel like those are really, really excellent. And I think for my last one, you know what? I'm just going to lean into it. Like I took banana cream pie first, but I'm going to take banana pudding as my last one. To be honest, that's probably what I should have taken instead of banana cream pie because I like it a little bit better. Just like everything about really good banana pudding is just delicious to me. Like the texture, the taste, everything. It's super like it's actually like vanilla pudding, but with like banana like chunks in it and stuff like that, and the vanilla wafers and all those things. Oh, it's so good. You get a little like kind of a bourbon flavor in there too if you get somebody that really knows what they're doing. Oh, it's really 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 good. But I could have like I have like six other things on here, but we're just going with those. What do you have for your last pick? Close it out.
So this in the South could probably technically be a main course, but I'm gonna go with cornbread. There's something
Is it
about it.
okay?
Yeah,
So the sweet version of a cornbread you're kind of going with?
I I don't know if I know the difference really.
Well, they're like
Um,
savory cornbreads, right? That don't really have any sweetness to it. Like it's almost like a dinner roll, but in that same form. And then there's cornbreads that are like sweeter.
it's probably the dinner roll
Okay.
version.
All right. All right. Right on.
Yeah. And back when I was a corrections officer, surprisingly, I ate most of the food, and so did the officers. You only had, 30 minutes, so you couldn't really leave and come back. And by the time you get popped all the way through the facility out to your vehicle, that's like 7 or 8 minutes. But they would serve chili, maybe a couple of times a month, and cornbread would be one of the sides. So I would always look forward to that. And whenever anyone makes it, I can devour it. That's just so good. So
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I, again, like what you define as dessert is what you get to define as dessert. So like we are open on this program that way. Yeah, cornbread's good. I just wouldn't think of it as dessert. Others on my list that I thought about taking, peanut butter pie, which I don't know if you've ever had that, but peanut butter pie is lovely. It's kind
sounds
of
good.
it's almost like peanut butter, but it's like kind of a mousse in it, so it's kind of softer. But I don't know. That's really really good.
I thought
Tiramisu, which may I don't know if you've ever had that or not.
probably not.
No, it's kind of like a coffee-esque dessert. It's like a coffee pudding kind of thing. It's probably not for you. Creme brulee, and then the one that key lime pie also is super good. But there's one that's a very southern one that like I'm sure you're gonna give me like that Terry face with this one. It's not pickle pie or anything like that, but it's called vinegar pie. Have you ever heard of this? You ever like nothing?
I mean, I'm typically pro vinegar, so I would
Okay.
probably try it, I guess.
It's a very southern thing, and when I first saw it, I was like, "What is that?" But it's like it's got that like sweet and tanginess of the vinegar, and like when you taste it, you taste the vinegar in it, but it's really really sweet and delicious. I think it's one of those like hyper southern things. So if anybody has more information on that, please shoot us an email, like cribbagepodcast@gmail.com. But who knows, maybe one of these weekends, like, we're hanging out for 2 weekends straight. Maybe I'll find somebody to make us a vinegar pie. Just a thought, but we'll go on that one. Any others on your list that you kind of considered?
My super emergency backup would have been the lamest pick ever, but I just put homemade chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. Like we'll probably do a cookie draft at some point. I don't know if we have. I don't think we've done a cookie draft, but I feel like that's like a separate draft in the future. So, right.
One.
Yeah, but yeah, shoot us your thoughts on your favorite desserts, whether it's to make or to order or whatever it is. cribbagepodcast@gmail.com is the best way to reach us on that one. Would love to hear everybody's ideas. And with that, we will jump to the mailbag, and a healthy mailbag this week, including, by the way, the long match entries are coming in fast and furious. We are up to, gosh, I don't know, like 40 something. At some point we'll cut it off. Like, I don't think we can really do more than like 64. That might be a stretch, but because we don't want this thing to go on for like a whole year. But we're at like 40 something, including, let me see what else. Let's see, here are the hands that we have this week, as well as the emails. Kevin Anderson reaches out. I should call him Mr. Anderson. You're a Matrix guy. I never was a big like Matrix guy, but I like the joke of like Mr. Anderson.
I never saw it. That's Keanu Reeves, I assume.
Yeah, that's like his like name, and like the agent will like say that to him, I guess.
Okay.
Like, so it's like a taunting thing. Okay. Hey guys, very well done as always. Updating the stats from the last 3 weeks. Terry, 117 and 132, 47%. Jason, 134 and 115, 53.8%. So I got like a 7% lead on you. It's like a gubernatorial election in like Georgia or something. Anyway, let's see. Very good hand submissions last 3 weeks. For one interesting note, I unintentionally third wheel the hand section of your podcast 8 times in the last 3 weeks. I made a selection that differed from both of you. I think that's cool when you have hands that are like, 3, 4, 5 different holds within them. Let's see what else. He also mentioned thank you to Canadian Jordan for being tournament director for the upcoming long match. I don't think Jordan knows what he's in for on this, right? Hopefully it is not too much work that we put in on him on that one. And let me see what else. And then mentions that he's definitely in for the long match. Thank you for the email, Kevin. Daryl, Mr. 29er, right? The original 29er, Dale Desjardins, reached out with a very eloquent, beautiful email, and mentioned about the one more game with like a deceased player, and mentioned in particular, I'm not going to read the whole email because he is Daryl's a little verbose, and I appreciate that. But he mentions, let me find a couple of sections here in particular. He mentions his mom in particular and says, what's remarkable is that mom's approach to teaching cribbage reflected who she was as a person. Despite having a difficult childhood herself, she chose to create something different for us. Patience, where she experienced harshness, encouragement, where she noted criticism. She could have easily passed along what she received, but instead she broke that cycle and gave us something precious in her time, wisdom, and her competitive spirit tempered with love. That's beautiful. Again, Daryl is Daryl would have struck me as like a poet, but he's got some like Keats going on with this stuff as he's writing these. So
I think he's got if I'm not mistaken, and feel free to correct me, Daryl, but I think he's got a background in psychology. So maybe from an education standpoint. And so I think it could go hand in hand.
Okay. Yeah, I could buy that. In fact, I remember hearing something along those lines of his like background, which I think had some like military in it and stuff like that. So hey, we get to see Daryl and some of the other folks, hopefully lots of the 29ers this weekend. Robert Milk checks in, says the 5 ACC members he misses the most. Delane Colvert, he mentions as number 1, certainly. Russ Perkins, there's a name we didn't really get into last week, which is of course Kathy Perkins' husband. Really nice guy. Like I saw him around a few times. Great storyteller and a fun cribbage opponent. Mentions Bobby Stewart, which I know they had named the tournament after in the Georgia area. A fun player. I remember Bobby because we were in the semi-final round of a tournament, which I qualified. And was it there's a typo in here that's throwing me off. It's something about having a 24 hand coming out of the gate and lost a game. Let's see. William Barnes, Mr. B, as I knew him, was super nice guy. Bob mentions always a smile, good fun player. And a name I don't know, and maybe you know this one, Harry Maiden. Maybe that's like that sounds like a fake name, like, Jim Bag or one of those. But Key West, Florida. So it didn't matter if it was sunny or snowing and 25 degrees. Harry would be in a t-shirt, shorts, and sandals. Fun player to be around. See you guys in a few weeks, Bob. So yeah, hey, there's 2 tournaments in the next 3 weeks. This is like my perfect time, right? It's like 2 more days of work for me, and then I get to do all this cribbage stuff. Hell yeah. So
congrats to Bob, by the way. He did win. I'm pretty sure it was a main this weekend out in Yuma. So
yes. In fact, yeah, he mentions it in the email I see in the kind of PS here. Won the Yuma Snowbirds tournaments, his 4th tournament win while serving as tournament director. Here's like a fun stat. I wonder who has like the max on that, right? Winning tournaments that they've like run themselves. I know that's a joke of I think it's Patrick Barrett. It's like won something every year in Deadwood when he's been director. Fixes in. So all right. Another email comes in from, and this is a bit of a challenge name, and I appreciate this person's kindness. It says, "Good afternoon, greetings from Orlando Club 22. Hope the week goes smoothly and the card's good. My name is, I'm going to butcher this, but I'm going to try to say it. Yo Namgung. You don't have to worry about my last name. Just Yo is good." Well, I guess just broke that by reading the whole thing. But just wanted to say how much I've enjoyed the podcast, and thank you too for the work you put into it. I've only played cribbage since last season. However, if I had the opportunity to play some past players, my choices would be Jim. Well, he says Linders. I wonder if I think he means Jim Linder, who I've heard many great things from Dave, and I assume he means Fournier and others, and George Rasmussen, who had the great YouTube videos, which is of course Raz, right? So. Thank you guys for the work, y'all, and hope to see you in Fort Walton this weekend, Yo. And he is actually, and there's another name into the long match. So we got Yo joining us on that one as well. Yeah, like I don't know if we've mentioned the Raz videos before here on the program. Did you ever watch any of those? Or
I think I've seen snippets of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Credit to Raz for kind of being ahead of the game on that one, because those videos are what, like quite a bit old, 20 years old, I'd say at this point.
I was going to say at least 15. Yeah.
Yeah. And to have the thought to actually have them taped, and like he had, for those who've never seen it, like go to YouTube, and if you type in like cribbage videos, there aren't going to be that many that show up, right? Well, first you subscribe to this program, and then you go and find the Raz videos. And those are, yeah, like something else. Like he has the big like paperboard, and we'll kind of go through things. Excellent teacher, and those things will like live forever, right? And I feel like so many of us, when we play this game, right, you kind of think about legacy and things like that. And I don't know, I never really thought of it until this exact moment, but it's kind of neat that like this show gets to like live forever, right? Like
yeah.
I could, get hit by a bus like tomorrow, and like these live forever. So that's kind of neat. Let me see if there's anything else. Megan Player checks in and sent a screenshot of a Google search as to why villains are always green. So I appreciate the deep research from the mega part of Mega Freer. Says, villains are often green due to a mix of historical printing costs, making secondary colors cheaper for less frequent villains, cultural symbolism linking green to envy, greed, sickness, poison, and the unnatural design choices to create visual contrast with heroic primary colors like red. So thanks for Googling, Megan. Like it's maybe stick to the tournament directing,
I thought that was useful. I liked it.
It helps, but it's Googling, like a little commentary. Anyway, is she coming to Fort Walton? I would, do I need to watch out for her to like taking a swing at me or anything?
No, I successfully talked her into Topaz after she said no like 12 times. She will be there, but I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Bummer. I always do like seeing Megan and having a few laughs. All right. So let's jump to the hands here, because I think the rest of what I have. Oh, hold on. Wait. A couple more mentioning the former players. Bestie Wanda checks in and says, "Hi, Bestie and Terry. # Team Jason in parentheses." So thank you, Wanda. Like that's why we're making sure we're reading that email. Wanted to put in my 2 cents on players I miss playing. Of course, these people are from Denver, Loveland, and the Cheyenne clubs. Mentions some of these names I kind of know a little bit, some I don't. Mentions Dennis Coombs, Bobby Brown, Jerry Landon, and Bill Barnes. And then a few who moved away, Eric and Lynn Haycock, Troy Thorson and Kathy Pacheco, and then Tim and Jen Connors. And then mentions, while this isn't cribbage related, I have to tell everyone my son is graduating Navy boot camp, 4th generation Navy, on the 15th. He's going to nuke school to be a nuclear technician. Keep pegging. Take care. Bestie Wanda, # Team Jason. So thank you for the email, Wanda. And yeah, congrats to your son. Like that's I cannot imagine the difficulty of trying to go through one of those like military boot camps. Like they seem to be kind of like I don't know, like made to seem like more fun in like the movies, but terrible at the same time. Like, but I cannot imagine the actual like pain of going through stuff like that. That seems, yeah, maybe not for me, but and then Mike Delaney checks in with just a list of players that he mentions Al Dinwoody, Jim Lunder, Jim Lynch, says he's known as the Gentle Giant. I don't know if I know Jim Lynch, David Campbell, and Henry Douglas. I think those are all like valid shouts there. So
yeah, Jim Lynch, actually, if I've got the name right, he passed away at a cribbage tournament, very sadly.
Oh geez.
In a playoff match. But yeah, he was from, I think he was a correctional employee like me. So that was like probably 20 years ago or something like that. But
you know what? I'd rather go out at a cribbage board than a hospital bed. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's
you know,
true. Absolutely.
like you're playing to 121 holes with the Reaper, man. Like, but yeah, it's I think most of us, it's funny, you go to these long enough, and it's not to be overly morbid or like mock anybody's like death, but like it's like I've been to a tournament where like somebody's not made it through the whole tournament, or there's been like an announcement. It's just kind of weird. Like, you know, you keep playing, what do you do, or this or that, or you know, there's like health things. I mean,
Grand National 2018 that happened in the midweek, I want to say, or maybe it was the main.
You know, like Omaha, I think. Yeah, I think after like the midweek and before the main, I remember there being like a moment of silence for somebody. Is that the one you're thinking of, Omaha? Or no, 18 is
Milwaukee.
I'm trying to do my math. Yeah.
That person was okay in the end, I think, but did have to go to the hospital for precautionary reasons.
Goodness. And then I was there in Reno in the bingo room the year that like the air conditioning thing like fell on that lady's head.
I was not in the room, but I heard about that.
I was in the room. That thing was scary. Like I heard some stories about it's probably not best for the program, but I guess and apparently like she just kept on playing. She had like an ice bag on her head and she's just like playing like she kept going. So credit to I don't know who this person is. You know, this just kind of came up, but like credit to whoever that is for keeping going. So all right, now we can go to the actual hands. Now I need to find where I have it. Here we go. Set up here. All right, here we go. So this is the first hand, and I did not make the screen to the point where we can see it. So let me fix that real quick. This one comes from Ezra Kazi. I believe I managed to get that one right again as I attempt to fix the screen.
I would shrink us if you could.
Yeah, here we go. I got this. That's perfect. All right. That's perfect. Just the cards kissing the top of the screen there. By the way, credit is always to David Hayes and cribbage121.com for setting this up. In fact, he was going through a little tech support with you before the show started, and yeah, I don't wish that on anybody. All right, so anyway, so let's hit this one here. But before we start, do you have a running count of our agree versus disagree?
Yeah, we put a gap on it last week, so 46 agree, 38 disagree since we started tracking.
Gap in a bad way, right? Like we had a lot of disagreements, if I remember correctly, last week.
No, that was the week before. Last week we agreed quite a bit. I think.
We were agreeable. Okay.
7 out of 9.
All right. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, if, I mean, you're so hot right now that, like, if I'm agreeing with you, I guess I'm maybe doing something right. All right. Here's one. And again, credit to anybody submitting hands. So this one comes from Ezra. So you are first count in hole 106. Your opponent is dealing in hole 94. And there is a flush here, folks. But here's the hand. It's 2, 3, 4, 5, Jack, King. And then there is a flush. Flush cards are 2, 4, 5, King. So Mr. Heater, right? No matter how you hold this one, you're going to hit the perfect cut and get out with how things are running for you. But what do you like in this particular spot?
I think I like throwing the king deuce here and holding 3, 4, 5, Jack. The only cut that really burns me is if we do cut a 2, where, well, if you threw the Jack King and you cut a 2, I guess you'd have 10, which is probably pretty good. You'd be within maybe a couple of points of going out. But I just like what I like most about the king deuce here is you have the option of going offense or defense. If you want to go defense, you probably lead the 4. If you get paired, you play the Jack. You get paired there. Well, you got the 3 for 31 and hopefully out of trouble at that point. And you can still cut, and you still got a couple of pass to a 12 cut. So I like the versatility of 3, 4, 5, Jack.
This may be a first on the program. Like, mark this date down, a date that lives in infamy. I completely agree with everything that you said, including the hold and how I would play this. The only thing I would add is just, right, in a spot like this, you should be, you play to win the game, right? Like everything, it's kind of like a joke in itself, but but that does give you the versatility in that, right? The right cut comes, you can execute an offense. Right, opponent dealing in 94, like they're behind, but also there's the possibility of, like, even if you get close, you can try to peg out next hand. So I would say, unless I brick this cut wholly, I'm probably leading the Jack and just trying to take where I can. Like, I'm trying, if the cut's a 9, I guess. I think the 9 is the only cut that misses this one off the top of my head. Yeah, I think everything else you get at least a piece.
Right.
Then I maybe that 2 cut that you're talking about, then maybe I would, try to steer away a little bit. But most cuts here, I'm trying to push down the board a little bit and see if I can get within that pegging range. Like, nothing crazy, right? I'm not gonna like go nuts trying to pair cards and things like that. But yeah, if I can take a couple here and get a little closer, I'm with it. So, all right, thank you for the submission there, Ezra. All right, here's a Terry hand, so I will let you give the intro.
So I had this hand in a playoff game against Keith Widener. And let me say that I was second highest qualifier in the Friday main. And when the bracket came out, I was going to have to play either the winner of Keith or Lori. And I don't like playing Keith because nothing works. He knows what I'm doing, type of thing. And I've said it over and over again. I think he is the best player from the South. So this was a game I had against him. And so it's an end game thing. You don't know how bad. I got to give the hand first. Sorry.
Yeah. Let's probably do that.
Anyway, but I ended up playing Keith twice. Let's put it that way. In both brackets, I had to play him. I had the bye and then had to play him after he won his first match both times. But so not a hard hand to explain here. In the 106 hole, 15 points from the end, Pone. He's dealing from the 90 hole, so he has to go a full street here. I was holding ace, 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 3, 7, 8. So I guess how would you have held it?
Okay. I think without too much hesitation here, I think I'm throwing 7, 3. Like I'm, I love the thought of hitting a 12 hand here with any face and holding ace, ace, ace 3, but 7, 8 is a little too risky with my opponent already dealing from pretty precarious position. Right. I still have a decent amount of holds of 12, holding the 3 aces. And in this case, like, I opted for the 8 just because like a right, like a the 6, what is it? And maybe I'm doing this wrong. Maybe 8-3 is the way to go. I'm just thinking off the top of my head here. Like if there are things that hit ace 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 that don't hit 7 ace ace ace. I mean, I guess the 5. So yeah, I'll stick with my original thought and throw 7-3. I think you make case for 8-3, but I just really, really don't like 7-8 here. To me, that's a little too much danger there. You cut a middle card and everything could go wrong.
Okay. Your way probably is the better way. I wanted to throw 7-8 so bad. That would have been on brand for me to just do it, go for the easy 12 and either peg out or get within a hole or two from the end. But I actually went, I preferred to hold the 7 with the 3 aces and throw 3-8. And I guessed right because we did cut a 7 and it basically got me out. So
Yeah, it's ball game, right?
yeah, I was just when I submitted this, I was just curious if you throw the 7-8. I didn't. I had it. Rob doesn't give me a ton of crap about it, or Voldemort. But I lost a game in the All-Star game to Jim Mahan where I threw, I think, face 5 and kept 3 aces and a 3 to just go for it. And it cost me the game. So I didn't peg a point. He had a decent hand, big crib, and I think he pegged a lot on me because he had small ones. But anyway, so that was kind of in my mind as I was playing this hand, and kind of erred on the side of caution.
Let's talk this one out because I think we agree that like defense is the play here, right? You still want to hold your 6 points and your chance at 12, but the differences between like 7-3 and 8-3 here is like I was kind of running through this one because it's I guess it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Right. It seems like both have, right. Like if you hold ace, ace, ace 7, right, then 7 cut is, clearly like the perfect cut, if you will. Right. And then the 6 hits, nothing else really does a whole lot for you. I mean, a 5, I guess, gets you like 2 extra points, right? 15. I call that like a hard working 15 when you use all 5 cards. But like nothing really versus holding 8 ace, 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 right? Like you've got the 6 cut, you've got the 5 cut. And then, the 6 cut or 7 cut gives you a little bit of help, but not a ton. So I don't know if that's one of those where it's just kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Well, I think your hold is better because 6, 7, 8. Basically,
I mean, the 7 doesn't do a whole lot if you hold the 8, right? It's because it's 6, and the 8's okay too. So it's more if you hold the 8. You want a 5 or a 6. If you hold the 7, you want a 6 or a 7. So I guess there's
right.
one fewer 7, if that makes any sense, right? Like there's, one of the 7, so there's only 3 of those. And then the 4 6s versus if you hold the 8, it's the 4 6s and the 4 5. So it's like one extra cut that gets you to 12, if I'm doing that right.
Well, you know what? I still think you're better because the 5 gives you a dozen, so does the 6, and so does the 8.
So no, the 8's only 8 points my way, but it's okay.
Oh,
I mean, it's still not a. That's not that's all right. I mean, that's what we do for breaking these things down in real time. Like we all worthy of a brain fart here or there, but
yeah,
it's very, very close between the two of them. I don't think I see like a strong advantage to the other. The only thing I like a lot more about the 7-3 rather than the 8-3 is that if you cut the 5, you're kind of mitigating it, right? The 5 becomes a good cut for you versus a lot of times a 5 when you're cutting for the dealer can be very, very bad, right? Does that make any sense from this spot? So I think it kind of takes some of the 5 stuff. If you cut a 5 and even if the dealer has a nice hand and a nice crib, you're still worst case scenario. You've got 12 there and your first count or you're dealing from 118, even if you peg 0. So it seems like it would be harder to lose from that spot. Okay. All right. Call that up. It's almost an agree. It's like a half a chili pepper disagree on that one. All right. So we move on here. So here's one I had at Grassroots over the weekend. I was rooting to get smoked at Grassroots because you always want bad luck at club before you go out to a tournament. and it worked because I got smoked. Here's one I had. I thought that had a little bit of nuance. So you are first count in hole 45. Your opponent is dealing in hole 53, and the hand is ace, ace, 2, 4, queen. So break down this position. Tell me what you see in this hand. Is there anything that you think is overly difficult here? I mean, to me, it's felt kind of a no brainer, but maybe I'm wrong here. I don't know.
Yeah, I really don't like anything here. You're just really far out of position. There's only one cut that will help a little bit, but you're still going to be dealing well short next hand. I'm probably going to throw the 4 queen here in hopes of maybe cutting a 3. But if I miss that, you've got a lot of face cards in that deck to get you to 8. And maybe by some miracle, you can trip something in the pegging.
Okay. I agree. I think queen 4 is the play here. It's at what point would you have, you're at 45 here. Where would you have to be to maybe consider throwing the deuces?
Probably the 50 hole.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's about right. That's kind of where I see that one as well. For the record, I think I cut like a 4 here. It was something that did not even get me to I didn't even get to 6 points. It was just like, oh, great. Yeah, thanks a lot. So that's how my weekend was. So be it. Okay. All right. Quick agree on that one. We're pretty agreeable today. I like that. Okay. Here's another one from Grassroots. Apparently I have lots of hands with aces. So you are first count in hole 33. Your opponent is dealing in hole 24. And the hand is ace, ace, 2, 5, 7, queen.
I would probably just throw the deuce 7 here and lead the face. I'm not really worried about a ton. I have a healthy lead. I'll be relatively into position after the hand, and this is like an all-out offense spot for me typically.
I agree, definitely. It's right. It's, if you're playing the true 26 theory here, right? Your next spot here is hole 43. And then you pick up this hand, which is for all intents and purposes kind of a clunker, right? And I think there's only really 2 ways to do this, right? You can either do it that way, or you can hold ace, 2, 5, 7, which maybe pegs a little bit better. But ultimately, I think 2, 7 is the way to throw this one. Just take the guaranteed 4 points. You've got a few different cuts at 8 here. And a real possibility is to get in your aces, especially if you end up missing, right? And just out of curiosity, from this spot, is there anything you're going to lead here other than the queen, no matter what cuts? Would you ever consider the ace lead from a spot like this?
Against a really good player, I would probably lead the ace because most of them will pair you. They'll be assuming it's just being played as a setup type card. But I don't know. I think I'm team queen all the way in any other situation.
Again, I feel weird. I don't know if I should test my head for a tinfoil hat, but I agree with you here. Especially, right, know your opponent. And just for everybody listening, you need to know your opponent and know if they are capable of pairing lead cards, and not if they have both of them, right? If you lead an ace and they have the other 2 aces, yeah, of course they're going to pair you, right? Or other things like that. But some people in this spot will never, ever, ever pair a lead card. So just something to think about there, and just a way that you can kind of mix in the game that you have. So yeah, agree 100% on this one. Again, it scares me if we agree a little too much. You've been watching my crib notes here. All right, this one came from Mr. Anderson, as we've been calling him, from Kevin Anderson. And he mentioned he pulled this from the Daily Scrimmage, which is a feature on Cribbage Pro. I did that one for a little while. It was kind of fun to go through and figure out, when you knew what the cuts were coming, how to best play some of the hands. But to me, I thought this one was a little more cut and dried. So your first count in hole 96, your opponent is dealing in hole 89. And the hand is 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, jack. And maybe there was, maybe this is a little different if it's your crib, or some other ways you can go about this. But I thought this one was pretty cut and dried. What your thoughts, Terry?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna throw Jack 3 here. I like the 4 lead just because I've got 2 of them, and we're probably gonna push the count past 15 a little easier than throwing Jack 4 and leading a 3. I'm potentially shorting myself 2 points here if a face card gets cut, but I don't know. I just think the pegging is safer. I don't really need a big hand here. And, there's only 3 deuces left in the deck versus 4 aces. So I mean, I think it's a decent percentage play as well. So deuce 3, 4, 4 for me.
Okay, hey, you surprised me because I don't agree here, and I would say medium strength disagree. Jack 4 is on average just a better toss to the crib than Jack 3. And right, like, and I see no reason to just throw away 2 points from nothing. Being that I'm gonna, like, I feel like I can stay away from most things with 2, 3, 3, 4 here, even with the 3 lead. Like if somebody plays something funky on it, plays an ace or whatever it is, I still feel good about my chances to kind of limit the damage. So like I don't know. I just don't see a reason to hold it funky in that way. Like maybe every once in a while they'll have all little cards and I'll just end up in a pegging war that I'm not thrilled with, but I like the Jack 4 a little bit better in this spot. So
Fair enough.
all right. Good. I feel better. I disagree. I feel more clean now. I appreciate. I don't know if you just took one for the team there or whatever. All right. So here's one of yours. This is a sticky wicket as they call it. Go ahead. Intro this one.
So this is another hand that I had against Keith Widener, and it was in the Saturday match. And by the way, that match went all 5 games. The Friday playoff, which I ended up winning the entire tournament, I just had killer cards that whole match and ran the table 3 straight. So, but I will say that I was big lucky in this second rematch for the weekend as well. But here's the hand: 5-5, 7-7, 8-9, and I'm pwned in the 34 hole. He is dealing in the 46 hole. So I'm well behind. This is a very uncomfortable spot. And again, I've got 5-5, 7-7, 8-9.
This is a tough one. Well, I don't think it's a tough one. It's an uncomfortable one. But I really can't imagine a world where I break this one. Like breaking down from 12 points to 6 points is just not my theory of how I would want to do this. There's a world in which I would break this, but this is not it. It's still too early in the game for me. Like I'm pitching the 5s, holding my nose, doing whatever you have to do. Just, wanting that middle card cut to try to break this game open. I'm already behind, and breaking down from 12 to 6 or 5 is not going to make it any better. So I will, again, not be thrilled about it, but you got to make tough decisions, like hitting on 16. Like I will throw the 5s.
That's what I did, and it wasn't like an instant toss. I did for a brief moment try to talk myself into 7-9, but I'm behind, and I just have to go for it. And just to show how lucky I really was, we did cut an 8 here.
Goodness.
And I ended up, let's see, in the 62 hole, dealing the next hand. So I'm still well short, but as fate would have it, this was actually the same game as the 3 aces, the 3 and the 7-8 that we covered earlier. So that previous hand is what ended this game. And so dealing from the 62 hole, I wasn't able to really get into position in that last hole. So I got really lucky twice in that game. And I want to say I had another 24 hand at some point that match as well. So
wow.
If you're gonna play Keith Widener, just be luckier, and that's your easiest path to victory.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. Something you said a second ago, I just want to pause on that because if I'm going to break this, I'm not breaking it with 7-9. It's interesting that you said that.
Okay.
Because
So
I think,
5-9?
Yeah, I think 5-9 is how I would break this one. Like holding 5-5, 7-8. Especially in a spot like this, like I need some points here. Like, and 5-5, 7-8, there's just I get there's not a lot that misses it wholly, but I just don't like breaking down to 4 points. If I'm holding 5-7, 7-8, there's at least a middle ground if I cut a middle card. Right, there's a cut at 14, there's cuts at 12. Right, any 7 or 8 or 9 gets me to 12. At 6 gets me to 14. So I think that's, if I'm breaking this, that's how I'm breaking it. There might be a spot on the board where I might throw 7-9 from here, but I just don't think this would be it. So
Yeah, I mean,
interesting.
the ace is the only card that doesn't get me to at least 8. Well, I guess the 9 only gives me 7, but still, I don't know. I just was more comfortable that way, and I think I've got a good shot at blanking their crib with a 7-9.
4 cut also, by the way, is a brick with that
Oh,
one.
it
Just
is. My
yeah,
bad.
just
You're right.
couple bricks. I agree. Like there's most everything gets you somewhere near where you need to get to, but I just don't like playing pure position. And again, like it's just, it's sometimes great when you play cribbage, people get locked up in position, and sometimes you almost want to play with the imaginary, like the endless board, right? Like instead of playing to 121, you're playing to a million, you're playing to a billion, and kind of hold the hands that way. I think if you're a less experienced player, I think that should be how you kind of play the game, especially on like first and second street. Just play like you're playing to a million. Just what's gonna, in the long run, what's gonna score you the most points. So, all right, and what's our count at? What are we at? Like 3-3 now, or something like that?
No, 4-2.
4-2. Okay. All right. Here's another Terry hand. I think that's our last one for the day.
Okay, I'm glad it's the last one too. So this was game 5 of my Friday final, which was against Dick May, who I know he's lived in the Central. I want to say he's a Florida guy now. I'm not positive. We will see him this weekend in Fort Walton. But he was my finals opponent, and I just want to give him credit because he's played me tough in the short sample size, and I knew at the start of that final it wasn't going to be a breeze. Even if the cards were equal, it was going to be a grind all the way to the end. And he was doing things where he would play a face card on my face card, where he would have the ace. He'd give me the 3 points to get the 2 in some spots. So when I see that, I see a player who's relatively aggressive. But so it's been a tough series. It's game 5. I am in the 90 hole, so I'm just 1 point from the skunk line. I'm pwned. He's back to the 72 hole. Now, I want to preface one thing before I read this off. I haven't had a ton of momentum the last few hands, and I felt like I was possibly slipping here. And as you're about to see, I had a tough situation here. At least it was tough to me. So I was dealt ace 2 3 7 8 10, and I'm in the 90 hole. He's back in the 72 hole.
This is a brutal spot. And I think when you asked me about this one, when you texted me about it, like my thought was to break the hand. I find myself drifting more towards throwing the 7-8 because the series of things that have to happen in order for you to potentially lose this game almost certainly start and end with missing this cut and not getting home. The odds of your opponent being able to potentially deal out from 72 seem very, very low. But when you asked me this the first time, that's what I went with. So I will stick with it and say 7-10 is my throw. But I this is one of these I could be swayed more towards the 7-8. You're going to lose a game like this far more often from being passive and not making the aggressive throw. But when you asked me that, that's what I went with. So that's what I'm going to stick with.
Yeah, I just wanted to hold the best possible ceiling here in terms of a hand. A deuce gets me 14.
You've only got 3 cuts in the deck that don't get you to 7 points. right? Like the 6, the
Right.
7, and the 8 are and you've got 2 of them in your hand here. So there's only 10 cards in the whole deck that don't get you to 7 points with the way that it was. So go on, continue.
So I did throw the 7-8 here. And what happened next will be a sequence that I'll remember for the rest of my life. This was that type of a hand. So I throw the 7-8, we cut the 6. Now I'm worried about the crib at this point. I'm not extremely worried, but I'm like, that was the worst possible cut, I would say. And so this is probably where we'll definitely disagree. I led the 10 here. And he took the 15. And this is where I was really stupid, I think, because I could have just picked a better path there. I just wanted to, when I played the 3 on his 5, I wanted him to play a face card to push the count up to 28, and then I'd get my
To
deuce
play
or
the
my
2
ace
and the
in.
1, right? Yeah.
I could have taken a safer path to that by simply just playing the ace on his 5. But what ended up happening was he dropped a 4 on it and took a run for 3. All I have is a ace and a deuce left. So I took my run for 4. He drops a 6 to take a run for 5. I had the ace for 31 for 8, which typically you're thrilled with, but a 6 was cut and all 4s, 5s, and 6s were falling out of his hand. And then I ran my cards out to get to 31. He had one more left, which was, it might have been a 5 on the other side. So he had a 24 hand, pegged a ton, and then had, luckily, only a 7 crib because he threw deuce 3. So he had deuce 3, 6, 7, 8 in the crib. That got him from 49 out to just 7 out. And I'm like 14 out by the time all this is done. And I leaned back in my chair, just kind of like this. And I looked up at the ceiling for at least 8 to 10 seconds. And I'm like, how did I just blow this final? Why did I allow this to happen? And insanely, I dealt actually because he was pwned. He had first count from 7 out. And I just told him, we'd been showing each other if we had it. I'm like, if you got it, just tell me. And I did not even look at my cards. I was just fully prepared to reach across the table and shake his hand and just go do a lap or something.
Yeah, I mean, a little tilt after something like that is understandable, I would say.
And he didn't have it. And so I'm still not like, I don't feel a whole lot more comfortable. But I pick up my hand finally. I kept 7, 7, 8, 9, and I threw 2 aces. And I'm glad I got a good hand, but it's still an uncomfortable spot because if he has so much as one middle, he's gonna peg, and probably at least 3, I would say. He'll get a go or a last card or something. And so I hold my pat 12. I throw my aces. We cut a deuce, and I'm watching for a reaction from him, and he doesn't react. So I'm like, okay, maybe it missed. And so he played a face card, I think a jack. I dropped a 7. I think he dropped an ace there, and I'm kind of like, so like, why is he not out? How did the deuce not help his ace is what I'm thinking. Not that it necessarily would, but a lot of times it will. And the rest of the cards played out. He got 1 or 2 goes. He was holding ace, jack, jack, queen, and the deuce missed him.
What a clunker of a hand to pick up in that spot.
I stole it back. I stole it back. And
hey, you got to catch some breaks to win a tournament. Cycling back to the pegging in which you talked about, and that I don't take a whole lot of issue with anything you did there. The only thing I think, right, this is one of these where like I've done this myself, and that I try to slow myself down in like important spots. I think the only thing that I would have done differently is when you play the 10, you play the 5 on it, and then you play the 3. I don't mind the 3 in that spot, right? But I think once he played the 4, and he's showing 4 or 5 with the 6 cut, I think maybe the ace is the play to try to cut the run where you can there. And I haven't like mathed this out, but I would on the spot. Let me just think off the top of my head. So 10 plus 5 is 15 for 2, right? And then you play the 3 is 18. Then he plays the 4 for 22. Then you play the ace for 23. And I don't think there's a way that you can get in like a whole lot more trouble that way, even if he has like a 3 or something like that. I'd need to like see the cards and like play them out, but I feel like I would take the time to think about it. And those are the regrets that I've had in like events in games, is when I haven't like taken the time in a spot to go, okay, hang on one sec, let me just think this through, right? Just react rather than think. A lot of times it, it does you well, but I think that's the only thing I can take issue with that is I think I may have like thrown out the white flag and played the ace like after he plays the 4 on there. So just food for thought.
I should have slowed it down and considered other scenarios. You're right.
And maybe you still do it, right? But I think that those have been my biggest regrets from like term. Like I remember there was an event once, and I don't remember what it was, but like it was Tournament Champions, and I remember in particular it was one of those spots where I was like first count from, or I think I was dealing from like 4 or something like that, and I had like 3, 4, 7, 8, and my opponent leads a 4. I played off, and everything went wrong, and they ended up getting like a trip on me that got them out in a spot where they never should have been out. And I felt real dumb because if I pair the 4 and they have the trip, then I have the 3 to go out. So it's like little things like that where I just, man, if I had just taken 5 seconds, I could have reasoned that one out. Right. So those are at least my biggest like cribbage regrets of those things. And I think that's our last hand for today. So let that be, So let that be a lesson to us all. But hey, man, like I said, it takes a catch and a break to win a tournament. So, like
I had tons of them all weekend. There was a hand where I pegged out from 16, mostly because I quadded his aces. There was a hand against Michael Burnham where I think I hit a 24 hand to get 12 out, and then I held 9, 10, Jack, Queen, and I said, man, I just need to cut into this run, and it has to match the Jack, and then I got a peg one, but with a hand that big, typically you will, with big cards rather. That exactly that happened. Like I don't know what it was, but maybe there was good karma leading into it or something. I don't know, but I was insanely lucky all week long. And Keith Widener, again, he had knocked me out of 4 or 5 straight playoffs before I finally got him out of one. So just not a guy I wanted to see, especially that early in both brackets. So yeah, just a hell of a weekend. I want to say one other thing as well. And we've talked about this maybe once or twice on the podcast and definitely privately. Energy drinks fog the hell out of my brain. And last week in Wisconsin, I was drinking them because I got up at 3 a.m. and it was just a long day. And I had a good 2 or 3 month stretch where I didn't drink any. I think the Washington trip kind of got me off the wagon, and I wasn't drinking a ton of them, but I couldn't get into a state in Wisconsin where I was hyper focused. Okay. I was feeling foggy. I was feeling like there were blocks in my head preventing me from expanding on certain scenarios. This weekend, I had nothing. I think Sunday night was my last one. So that was 5 days before the Friday main. I had no energy drinks, and I could be hyper focused all weekend long. I played some of the best cribbage I've played in quite a while. So energy drinks, I think, can mess with you. And so I'm definitely done with them. Like maybe in an emergency I might have one, but I'm not drinking them at any point several days before a tournament. Let's put it that way.
Well, I mean, and also like great, get more sleep, and the Asheville one, right? Than you would getting up at 3 a.m. to go to the airport and do all the travel
True.
and all those things. So like travel is a burden. And it's gonna maybe not fog the brain. So I don't know if I'd put the kibosh, the smackdown on like energy as somebody who's like a coffee drinker, right? Like for some reason, and I think this is one thing that's different, is like find what works for you in terms of that laser focus. For me, like I have a big giant Americano that probably has enough caffeine in it to like kill a horse. But something about like like espresso versus coffee gives me that like lock in, that laser focus. And I agree, that's super important, right? Get the rest you need and eat consume the things that will get you there and not the things that you don't. Right. We just did this dessert draft. If, on the lunch break, you decide you want a large ice cream or carrot cake or apple pie or cornbread or cheesecake or banana cream pie or whatever it is that we picked, right? Like if you find after doing those things, you feel jittery and it's going to, screw with your focus a little bit. Yeah, maybe not do that. Save that for another time. Save it for the day after the tournament. So I think finding what gets you that lock in, and I don't know if it's ever happened to you, but like I've had events where it can be frustrating, but I felt locked in all day and I still get whooped. But there's some solace in that. There's some peace in that. You know what? I feel like I squeezed every drop out of that I could.
Yeah. So. I do remember in that 2 or 3 month period where I had none whatsoever. I remember having a not so great tournament and just texting the group chat saying, not a good card. I don't think I made any mistakes though. Nothing I did cost me. But yeah, there was a hand last week in Wisconsin, and I think it was in the playoffs. And I want to say I had 4, 5 ace, and it was like mid count, and I couldn't process what to do. And it was the last hand of the game, and my opponent was like dealing from, I think I was like 2 out, and my opponent was dealing from like 6 or probably 7 or 8 out. So not like the most uncomfortable spot, at least initially. And I could not process how to navigate there. Like everything had like immense risk all of a sudden. And he was watching me play it. And I think I did botch it. And that was just another example where my mind was not clear in that situation. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I've had times like that for sure, where you just try to like, for some reason, nothing's coming easy, right? Even like counting hands, they just aren't firing like they should, like they normally are. And having to like actually expound the mental energy to like do those things, just the little things. Yeah, it's aware for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, that's going to be first and foremost. And I don't think there'll be a situation this weekend where I'll be tired.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, it's so no energy. So if you have to drink one before a tournament, on one side you've got a big old energy drink. And on the other side, you've got a martini with like 8 olives in it, which which you gonna crush before the event starts.
Oh no! Oh god!
I guess we'll leave that for the listeners to figure out for themselves. So, all right. Well, I see no better time to close up shop than on a note like that. Hopefully we will have a fun program next week to speak of. And again, for all the 29ers out there, if you are in Fort Walton Beach, come say hello. Let's talk, let's gab, let's do the things. But yeah, thank you everybody for listening, and we will catch you next week. Thanks so much.